I must ask you a question. Is Elon Musk your favorite socialist too, or is that just me? He has a plan, she has a plan, and you get to pay for it regardless.
The best way to get someone motivated is to stand for something strongly, deeply, passionately.
Subscribe to Disenthrall. Do as you're told.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will be Patrick Smith. Welcome back to Disenthrall. This is going to be a really cool weekend, I think. We have, tomorrow, Christian and I will be reading as much of The Ethics of Liberty by Rothbard as we possibly can and doing a philosophical breakdown and critique and commentary on it. So a lot of people have been asking me for that for a long time, and we're finally going to do it tomorrow, probably starting around 2 p.m. in the afternoon Central. And then Sunday, we have a very interesting show that I'm looking forward to. I will be watching live on stream. What's his name? My brain's going blank. I will be watching the What is a Woman documentary, live commenting and critiquing on that, but not by myself. Oh no, I will be inviting on a special guest, a trans woman, anarcho-capitalist, who has agreed to join me to watch the content, something that you would think is probably very against this person's position or worldview, and we're going to have an interesting discussion. It will not be Blair White. No. It will be Anyway, so that's on Sunday. If all goes well, we have 2 really kind of cool Brainiac streams for you coming up this weekend. And so today I just wanted to hang out. I just wanted to turn my brain off a little bit and enjoy what's happening in the culture right now. What's happening in the culture right now? Well, Elon Musk is just giving us these amazingly hilarious moments as he proceeds throughout to purchase Twitter. Because thousands of employees work for Twitter. They're almost all very leftists out of Silicon Valley. And almost none of them are too happy about Musk becoming the big boss man. And today, Veritas gave us an outstanding treat. They released the video of Twitter's all hands meeting today, where Musk took questions from all of the Twitter employees, and we're going to be watching that and just hanging out and chilling. I'm going to eat some food. I'm going to have some whiskey, but not by myself. I have friends, guys. Welcome to the show, Christian and Shepard. It's so good to have you back.
It's good to be here.
Thanks for having us on.
Hell yeah, it's been too long. So in an effort to just create more like chill, fun content rather than all this like cerebral, boring Brainiac stuff that I try and focus on, we're just gonna take a few hours. We're gonna watch the fun. We're gonna mine some salt. Not only are we gonna watch the actual all hands meeting, but I also have the most recent thing to drop from Veritas, which is a screen capture of all of the internal chat on the internal Twitter Slack from all the employees that were messaging each other during this all hands meeting. And it's like 2 salt mines, and we're just going to be hammering them both at the same time, and it's going to be delicious. I can't wait. So, welcome to the show. Christian, Shepard, what do you guys got going on? You have anything you want to announce or talk about before we get started? Christian, what are you up to?
Just been living life, hitting the grindstone. My brother got married. If anybody follows me on Twitter, they saw photos of him all dressed up in his suit. So that was fun. Went to his wedding last week, but excited to be back and helping to make some content. So,
hell yes. Shepard, what about you? What have you been up to? You've been moving around the country, and what have you been doing?
Yeah, just moving and loving life and getting into our busy business season so I can pay the bills so that I can play and enjoy philosophy in the fall, winter, and spring. And so now I'm getting into the work mode And I am so excited to hang out with y'all tonight and listen to your brilliance.
Oh, no. Turn down the expectations. We're chilling. we're chilling.
You got something right there.
We're gonna watch some far leftists get big butt mad at Elon Musk, and well, let's get into it. Let me pull this up here. If you guys want to say anything, just start talking, and I'll pause the video. That's the only way this is gonna probably work.
Sure.
Oh, and warning to the people watching on YouTube. We do have a number of people watching on the YouTube right now. It's entirely possible that as soon as we start playing this, it's going to get auto-detected as Veritas's video, and like an automatic copyright takedown might happen. We're also streaming to Odysee, link in the description, as well as our Twitch and DLive and Facebook channels as well. So if we disappear here, find us over there, and you'll know what happened. All right, let's do this. This is I can't wait. Here we go.
All right.
Oh, and you know what I kind of want to do is I kind of want to play like a little bit of, I want to play like 15 minutes of the video and then go and read 15 minutes of their comments about, so we can kind of get them at the same time.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining this special Q&A session with Elon. Elon, thank you so much for joining us. The company's been so eager to hear from you live and direct. And we all appreciate you joining us today.
Oh, yeah, they appreciate it.
Park, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be able to speak to everyone.
And since we started late, I'm going to go right ahead, hand it over to Leslie so that she can moderate this Q&A session for us.
Okay, sounds good.
Amazing. Thanks, Parag. Hi, Elon. We have a lot to cover, a ton to cover. So I am going to ask you a question that usually gets asked at the end, which is, will you come back for a part 2 at some point, if there are things that we don't cover?
Yeah, absolutely. What happened?
Okay, great. Okay, so you have some breathing room. So I really do see this as the beginning of a conversation, obviously with the company at large, and then also with teams and leaders over the next coming weeks and months and beyond. So we're just getting started. Okay, so I'm going to zoom all the way out.
Do you guys want to make any predictions?
I don't know how spicy the Q&A questions will be. Well, so this is supposed to be a private thing, right? That's the intention.
Yeah, but it's like 8,000 it's like 8,000 employees,
yeah.
So the chances that they thought it was actually going to stay private are probably pretty slim, but yeah.
There's going to be at least one question about combating fascism or extremism that's going to be in there somewhere. Other than that, I'm coming in pretty blind, so I'm ready to be surprised.
Yeah, and I have been without news. A couple weeks ago, my cellular device quit showing a news pop-up thing. So I haven't even seen... Yeah, isn't that disappointing? I usually spent about 2 minutes a day scrolling through headlines.
You're aware that Elon is purchasing Twitter, right? Like
I did hear that.
Multi-billion-dollar buyout. Yeah. All right, cool. My predictions would be... The questions will be bland. They'll be very moderated and sanitized, necessarily. But there's going to be something about how to prevent harm on Twitter. And I'm pretty sure he's going to go with the whatever is legal free speech line. And then at that point, I'm going to just love flipping over to the chat comments and seeing what happens. So, all right.
To the reason that we're actually here together today, and that is because you love Twitter.
I do love Twitter. Yes, I want to be clear about that. I love Twitter. In fact, I literally have tweeted, I love Twitter.
You have. So tell us, say more. Why do you love Twitter? And also, why did you and do you want to buy Twitter?
Well, let's see. I mean, I find like I learn a lot from what I read on Twitter and what I see and the pictures, videos, text, and memes that people create. I also find it's a great way to get a message out. If I want to say something or make an announcement, I think Twitter's the best way to do that. it just goes out immediately to everyone. You know, I sort of made this joke already, but you know, some people use their hair to express themselves. I use Twitter. So, you know, I find it's, yeah, the best forum for communicating with a lot of people.
Who is that guy in the background? He's just been like hovering over. Was that some kind of screen there? Is he like Elon's network guy or something?
He could just be like, I think that's the kitchen. He could be cooking something. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. I didn't know. He's just been like sitting there, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? Okay, sorry.
Also, Elon looks like he just woke up.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's working hard. So, he's like, oh, I got to talk to these 8,000 ungrateful radical leftists. Ugh.
And so to take things to a little bit less professional of a level in the workplace, the attractive young lady who is selected to be the moderator because of her intellect, it'll be interesting to see how many more times she flips her hair as she speaks to the world's wealthiest man who is now getting to look directly at her, who she also very much dislikes. So I, for one, will also be flipping my hair each time she does, but that's just me.
Okay.
Also, simultaneously, and getting that message directly to people. You know, in the past, you'd have to, in order for somebody to read about something, you'd have to issue a press release, or and then you'd hope that the regular media would write about the press release, and then they wouldn't write about it in quite the way you'd like to write about it. I always found those, like, the old style press releases kind of oddly, like, really quite strange, because you're like writing a press release about yourself, which is sort of something that the media, it's overly flattering. It's like vaguely sort of, you know, propagandist, in fact, quite propagandist, and then hope that the media writes something favorable, which they usually do not. And you know, I think that actually is maybe one of the biggest reasons for me using Twitter, is so I can communicate directly with people and not through the lens of the media. And you know, I think there's obviously an important role for the media to play, but as anyone knows who reads the newspaper, it's coming through quite a negative lens. So, you know, you have to say, how many newspaper articles do you read that are positive, and how many news articles do you read that are negative? What percentage are positive? What percentage negative? And then when you read about it, you know, it's obviously overwhelmingly negative. And then when you read about something in newspaper, is a dated term, in the news, where you actually personally understand the situation, how many times have the media gotten it right? I would say almost never. Not never, but almost never.
Uh-oh.
So,
nice.
You know, this is a way.
So somebody's getting triggered in the chat over that. That's a prediction right now.
For people to communicate directly with each other, and not through a negative lens. And I think that's extremely important for the world. So I'm sort of waxing on about this, but I think it's pretty important. You know, some of my comments about Twitter being sort of like a digital town square, but really much more than that, because you know, you can't put that many people in town square, but you can communicate with millions of people on Twitter. That's just an incredibly important thing, and I think it's essential for a functioning democracy, or to function well. I think it's essential to have a free speech, and to be able to communicate, just communicate freely. Now, the free speech stuff does need to be, you know, it's free speech within the context of the law. So I'm definitely not suggesting that we, you know, just flout the law, because we'll get shut down in that case. And I think there's also there's freedom of speech and freedom of reach. And you know, freedom of speech is one thing, because, you know, like, anyone could just go into the middle of Times Square right now and say anything they want. They just walk into the middle of Times Square and deny the Holocaust. Okay, you can't stop them. They will just do that. But that doesn't mean that needs to be promoted to millions of people. So I think people should be allowed to say, pretty outrageous things that are within the bounds of the law, but then they don't, it doesn't get amplified. It doesn't get, a ton of reach. I think an important goal for Twitter.
That sounds like shadow banning.
To try to include as much of the country, as much of the world as possible. So currently, it's a relatively small percentage of the world that is, and it is a small percentage of the world that is on Twitter. If you say like daily active users, if you assume that that's say 200 million, you've got 8 billion people on Earth.
I'm not sure that that's a publicly known number. Like he may have just talked about something that was private to the company, and because this was leaked, we got that point of information. Could be wrong there, but 200 million people, that's probably a private detail.
Didn't they talk? Wasn't that one of the contested figures on their one of their investor reports that they did? I don't know if it was a quarterly or not. It could have been an annual, but he talked about like what they show on their filings as part of like their upsell, right? How many users they have versus like that was the big thing that started the bot controversy.
Yeah,
because it was like how many of these people that they talk about are bots. Which I think 200 million is less than the last figure I heard, but that could have just been a ballpark figure. So I don't know. Maybe he does have more accurate data now.
Shepard, Adam would like to see you smoke a joint during an episode. It was Elon's finest moment.
You know what? I am going to smoke a joint, and I'm going to wait until I'm retired. But I have never smoked a joint, and I might appear to be a little bit straight. It's for logical risk management reasons, but I definitely can't wait to.
Yeah, okay.
1.8 billion who are not on Twitter, so that's a pretty big number. And really, I think you want as much of the world as possible on Twitter. You want to be as inclusive as possible, the broadest demographic. And for that to happen, people must like being on Twitter. So if they're being...
He defined inclusive different in a non-SJW way. He's just mean broad reach inclusive. Yeah, interesting.
Being like harassed.
Somebody's going to mention that in the chat.
Or if they're uncomfortable, they're just not going to use Twitter. And they're, so, we have to sort of strike this balance of, allowing people to say what they want to say, but also making people comfortable on Twitter, or they simply won't use it. It will be, it'll be sort of quite niche. But I think there's also a lot that should be done in terms of enhancing the core technology and offerings of Twitter. Like right now, if somebody does, say a video, like let's say
they asked him one question about why he loves Twitter, and he's just like giving him this is a full-on brain dump.
Then they're going to put that video on YouTube and just put a link to it from Twitter, because they're able to monetize their content on YouTube but not on Twitter. And I think it's going to be really important for, if you want people to put the content on Twitter, which we do, then there has to be a mechanism for content creators to monetize that content. And so they could dual post it. They could post
oh my God, he's not answering the question. Can somebody shut him up? Oh my God.
Content creators will use Twitter to drive traffic to their YouTube.
Why do we have a moderator?
Because, that's how they make a living. And that really should be on Twitter. Like this, we want to basically address the reasons that people, like why aren't more people using Twitter, and why do people click away from Twitter? And
if this was a job interview, I wouldn't hire him.
Reasons, then they'll use Twitter more, and they'll get greater value from the service. And if I think of like WeChat in China, which is actually a great app, but there's no WeChat equivalent in outside of China, and I think
that's exactly what you should be focused on
to create that sort of, you basically live on WeChat in China, so because it's so useful and so helpful to your daily life, and I think if we achieve that, or even get close to that with Twitter would be an immense success. Hopefully that's really went on there, but and I'm happy to elaborate on any of those points.
Yeah, no, it's great, and we're gonna get a little bit deeper on free speech and policy a little bit later. So I do want to come back to this actually. But in terms.
Okay. Let's do this now. I don't know if this chat thing is going to be fun for the stream, but I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just going to read them, and if there's enough fun ones, we can keep going, and if not, then we'll just stop it. Right? So, can you guys see this well enough to read?
I might be a bit in the way, but.
Okay. I don't know if this is going to work.
I cannot see one.
So they're asking. Okay, we got to mute this music. There we go. All right, let's see if I can just like skip through here and catch some good stuff.
And then just so I understand, this is the chat that when they send it out, they know 8,000 other people are going to see it. It's not a completely private thing.
It's an internal all hands meeting, which should technically be private, but.
Okay.
I mean, with 8,000 people in the Slack, I can't imagine they actually think it's... Oh, yeah, look, right there. 8,580 people in the chat. These are all Twitter employees, but I doubt that they can possibly imagine it's going to be kept private.
Yeah, okay.
How will you uphold freedom of speech while ensuring the platform is safe for all? Some people choose to share pronouns because it stops them being misgendered. Others share them in solidarity. It's a small gesture that makes a big difference. There's been a lot written about your views on this. Would you consider adding your pronouns to your Twitter bio? Yeah, you're going to ask him that. Oh, there's some replies. Hold on, we might get to see replies. Doubtful, and then this guy links Elon tweeting that pronouns suck. Oh, man. Talking about Twitter goals. Regarding Twitter's company culture and values, what values and beliefs should shared by tweeps? I think they call in Twitter employees call themselves tweeps. And what values and beliefs should be diversely represented by tweeps? We heard from you that by free speech, you mean that which matches the law. So how do you think about following that approach on a platform that operates globally, but with different laws locally? We would have to have a very different Twitter in different parts of the world. This is something that we thought about at Float. Like, we just basically say, look, we're going to follow the bare minimum laws that we have to follow to be a United States company. And if the rest of the world can't handle that, that's their problem. But, that's going to get us banned in certain countries. But, so be it. This is going to go on for a while. Let's see.
So do you think that there will be like 321 firings after this? Like, are these people thinking ahead and thinking Elon has his hitmen that are going to be reading through all of these and saying, Bill, Jane, Jill, you're fired? Or are they being really careful?
Yeah, the smart ones are being quiet, probably. Question for Elon. You've shared that free speech is a key part of why you're acquiring Twitter. Are you familiar with the paradox of tolerance found in the Open Society, written by Karl Popper? Paradox of tolerance is nonsense, and I have a video describing exactly why that is. You guys have any thoughts on the paradox of tolerance?
Yeah, no, I've seen your video, and it's a great takedown of the idea. It's often shared by people who like maybe did a cursory read or heard someone mention it and they were like, this is really cool. It just doesn't hold water though.
Yeah. So, I mean, to describe it real quick, the paradox of tolerance is that if you are perfectly tolerant, then you will tolerate bad people saying things, which will end up convincing people to be less tolerant, which will reduce the overall amount of tolerance. And so if you want to be tolerant, you have to be intolerant. And they call that a paradox. And I'm saying, no, it's not a paradox. It's just that it's okay to be intolerant of things that you don't want to be around. That there's no paradox there. Let's see. Question for Elon. I'm skimming here. There's a lot of text on the screen. Elon, as successful as you are, I'm sure you know that a company is no more than its employees and the hard work we put in. We have three business owners on the screen right now, communicating about this, right? We have the CEO of Voluntary Virtue to your left, and we have Shepard, who has a couple businesses right? You have more than one, right? Or just the...
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have to name names, but yeah, he's a business owner. And I've been entrepreneur several times. So this is interesting, seeing this. She says, as successful as you are...
That's all a business is. There's nothing else. There's no vision behind it. There's no equipment. There's no blue sky from years of working really hard and firing people and getting the right crew. It's really all about the current people that are right there. And to put it another way, oh my gosh.
After spending the last few months... Should I be doing this in character? After spending the last few months bashing how we work so publicly, what exactly are your expectations of team morale once you take over? Is that on your radar at all? It's bold of you to talk for months about how terrible we are at our jobs and then ask us to throw you a welcome to the team party, right?
Fired.
Please don't. That's the best. That's the best.
Oh, am I doing the up talk well?
Oh gosh.
Do people so Kyle in with a response here. He might be Chad Kyle. Let's see. Do people really think questions phrased this way are going to be asked, or is this just a place to vent? If it's the latter, I get it. Carry on. Oh, she did not like that. Hold on, what'd she say? If by people you're referring to me, the asker, addressing me directly is likely your best bet. I'm gathering.
Oh my god.
I am gathering from your comment that this question isn't up to your professional standards. I personally prefer to just be direct and honest. As a fellow autistic professional, I'm assuming as a fellow autistic professional, I'm assuming Elon appreciates that kind of discourse as well. Does leaving this type of anyway? So they're having internal tweep drama going on here.
Maybe she's like a secretary at Twitter. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
I guess careers.
We've got another lady in here. Are you the authority for how questions should be phrased? If so, you should join the comms team and show everybody how it's done.
Oh my god.
Oh, they go on for a while. They're skip
eating
ahead.
each other alive.
You should absolutely not be questioning my class, judging my phrasing, or daydreaming about Leslie asking questions. You should be working on your actual job, which I have to assume is not director of question patrolling or senior manager of assessing class. You should stop now, I think. I asked a question I wanted to ask. If they wanted to ask it in the meeting, they can. If they don't, they won't. If you are answering questions on all... Oh my god. Why are you randomly criticizing women for being bolder than you like when you could easily mind your own business?
Oh my god, kill me please.
Can you imagine Shepard allowing this kind of discourse on company communication channels at a company you own?
I would give bonuses. This is gold. This is the best. And so, are you, if you would cut and paste the names of some of the more dramatic people, if we could share them with the Libertarian Party, they could sure use them as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God, this is as much drama as I've seen.
What'd you say?
This Faith person is an absolute gem of a human being, truly. This last comment, okay, well, I'm a delightful version of myself, and I ask impeccable questions. Thank you for your concern. You are dismissed.
You gotta do the up talk. You are dismissed.
Does she have 4 or 5 cats?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let me try and skip through some of these. This is like an hour and 15-minute video of chat comments. Elon, you had mentioned that you expect extreme work ethics from your employees, though not to the same degree as you expect from yourself. What do you envision the work-life balance to look like? What people, organizations have you engaged to inform your strong opinions about content moderation and free speech? Will you assemble a team of experienced and knowledgeable experts in this field to advise you in deciding the direction of Twitter's content moderation policies and workflows? If not, why would you consider this less valuable than the input of your expert teams of physicists and engineers at Tesla?
Oh, that says a lot. That statement could be a whole show.
There it is. Elon, will you take personal responsibility for the violence that results from hate speech and misinformation on Twitter?
Why don't they just quit? Like, if they feel this strongly about it, just quit. Like, don't do this to yourself.
How will you ensure Twitter remains a safe workplace for people of any gender?
What is that cross? You know, the like, what do they call it? The react that you can do? It's like a cross under some of them.
I don't know. I'll keep an eye out for it. I'm trying to keep it moving here. There's so much.
Will you love us tender?
Will
that
you
was
what?
A good one.
What?
That was,
questions for Elon. Will you love us tender? Smiley face. Oh, and it's the same Faith chick. I'm pretty sure I speak for all of us when I say that this question should probably be first, so we don't miss it. I think she actually was joking.
Well,
that's good.
Yeah.
They're really worried about remote work because when the pandemic hit, I know a lot of tech companies diversified all over the globe and hired people that were nowhere near their home offices. And Elon has taken a very strong anti-remote work stance recently. So, like, you got this guy. Twitter announced its decentralization plans, accelerated them because of the pandemic. Since then, Twitter hired many remote employees who live and work far away from any of the Twitter offices. What are your plans for those people? I bet that's going to come up.
That's such a dilemma for the woke folk, isn't it? Like on the one hand, you want some person in some third world country to make money for their family. You want to be able to sit in your own tiny home and work from there. And yet at the same time, you want to preclude lower cost labor from competing with you because you did, after all, graduate with a master's degree and you've been on the job now for 3 weeks. So you deserve a lot of money. And so somebody underbidding you by, 8,000% in Philippines, that's got to be a real confusing, tough thing for them, what to fight for or what not to.
Yeah, for real. Okay, Shepard. One of your employees comes to you and says, Shepard, you surprised a lot of us when you released your song Don't Doubt Your Vibe in 2020. How can you convince us to not doubt your vibe given your opinion on Twitter's current work culture? Shepard.
Thank you, and I'm glad you asked that question. I will love you tender. I think that would be the only answer. So, yeah.
Parenting programs, mental model, work from home stuff. Apparently, this is all before the stream started. They're waiting for the stream to start. Hasn't started yet. They're complaining about it not starting yet. Skipping ahead. Are you question for Elon. Are you buying Twitter for the employees that work here or for the product itself?
For the product.
What do you think the actual answer is? I don't think it's either of those things. I don't think he's buying it. What do you guys think?
It's for the structure. It's for the system. And the system is comprised of blue sky, years of reputation. It's comprised of probably 2,000 incredible employees and a lot of other assets that are, I'm sure on the balance sheet. But it's not certainly for all the employees. No, it's not for the people.
It's, in my opinion, it's for the network effect that's already built up. It's for the user base. That's probably a big part of it. Because somebody with his resources could very quickly have a social media site created. It's a relatively simple website when you think about Twitter. it's a place for you to enter text and tag other people. And he could recreate that with a team of developers in less than a month with his amount of resources. So I don't think it's for much of, maybe it's for the scaled technology, like being able to do that for hundreds of thousands of people. There's value in that. But my judgment would be mainly for the user base.
Well, that's where all Twitter's value is. It's in the platform.
Hello, Elon. Do you think you're based? That's an actual question. All right.
Based.
Let me go a little bit farther here. People are wanting Tesla discounts.
Good. You know what? I think that's something that anyone watching right now, when you work for someone, that's one of the most important first things if a new owner takes over. Ask for favors and discounts and ask your boss, hey, what can you do for me? Rather than showing what your value is. That's brilliant. Smart person.
Yep. They still haven't started yet, so they're 7 minutes late currently. A lot of people starting to get cantankerous. Apparently they're using Google Hangouts for this broadcast meeting, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, don't they have Twitter Spaces? Does it not facilitate enough? Oh, it doesn't do video yet. That's what it is.
Dear Elon, would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
The true questions. The philosopher in the chat.
Christian, what's your answer?
One horse-sized duck. I think that would be much easier to take down than 100 duck-sized horses. Those would annihilate me, probably.
Really? Okay, my answer would have been different. I would have gone with the horse-sized ducks because I figure like a baseball bat and I can knock them away faster than they can come at me. But maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, like at 308, 2 of those into a horse-sized duck and it's done. You know, I mean, but like I have to have 100 of those for all the duck-sized horses.
This is the puns have begun. An elongated silence. Someone says.
Okay, that's good. That's
Elon ghosts Twitter employees. Washington Post headline. 8 minutes in.
It's good to see some of these people have a sense of humor.
Yeah, they're checking Elon's Twitter to look for updates. Let's see. We're still not even to where the video began, so I'm going to try and jump forward.
So how awesome if 7 minutes, when he's late by 7 minutes, he tweets something like, I got to go do this thing I'm just freaking really dreading, or something like that. That would be awesome. All the employees would see that. I'd love it.
Oh, we got a Twitter popcorn bowl. So we're 9 minutes in and it hasn't started. So as a business owner, if I had 8,500 people sitting there burning the clock on my dime, I would be very frustrated if it didn't start on time. What's
the average? What's the average hourly rate for a tech employee?
Oh, call it 80,000.
So $40 an hour. So that's 340 grand an hour that it's costing for this, divided by 6. Yeah, that's kind of expensive.
Yeah. Like it's not cheap to just let 8,500 people. I mean, this is probably more productive than what they were doing beforehand. Okay, the stream has started for them now. They're asking about the dude in the background, just like Christian.
You know, Christian, if your current gig doesn't work out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I'm good.
Okay. So, Paul says, so far, I'm not hiring this guy. Oh, man, I called that one.
Yep. You did call that one.
Wow.
Didn't know this Paul guy was the one calling the shots.
Interesting how his answer is me, me, me. The guy behind him is probably monitoring this Slack right now. Let's see. That's his personal cook. Now they're starting to get upset with him prevaricating on his answer. Why you love Twitter is not the same as answering why you want to buy it. When you don't know the answer to the question, so you try and rack your brain for an answer.
Why can't those be the same thing? Why you love Twitter and why you want to buy it? I mean, I don't see why that's mutually exclusive, but
the person in the back is Project Veritas. Little did they know. Little did they know.
The person in your chat is
Oh, he's only going to answer one question. Huh. What is happening right now? When you fail the interview on the first question, clear and concise comms are a thing.
God, these are so many people just asking to get fired.
Yeah. Can we structure this?
They don't understand that it's not like there's a central authority that says, today you're going to be the janitor, you're going to be the owner, you're going to be the CEO. They don't realize that this is the person who has created enough value in the world that they now have enough pennies that they can buy this thing. I don't think they get that.
Can we structure this conversation to get to the question Tweeps submitted? Wait, is this still the same answer? Oh God, says Michael. He just says, oh God, that was his message. I want to buy Twitter because too much PR is negative about me. Yeah, that's what he said.
I want to, I'm hoping, I'm praying that I can see a not my owner, in here. That would be good.
Can we mute him and move on?
Wow.
45-minute Elon soapbox, question mark? This sounds like a therapy session.
Yes. It literally is a 45-minute
the freaking place.
The propaganda is unfiltered now. Someone stop him. Oh boy. So press is fake and Twitter's the truth? This is not off to a strong start. Can we cut him off? Who's moderating this? Can we refocus?
Who's moderating this chat?
No one. God help us. Okay, next question. Next question, please. Are we going to do this for 24 hours? $280 character answers? Question mark.
Okay, that's funny.
Okay, that one was funny.
Good.
Yeah. Why do you love Twitter? Well, the media is negative, you see. Propaganda holocaust. Oh my God, no! Can we... okay, let's see. All right, I'm about to jump back to the video now. I think we're caught up on the chat. Nope. They're still complaining about him answering the first question. Leslie, please, I beg you. Leslie, 6 minutes on this? Leslie, intervene. Ah, so he thinks we should be shadow banning. Somebody said, yeah. That's someone good. Telling his answers need to be 140 characters or less. Where is this going? Okay, I'm going to hit play.
In terms of, you clearly have a lot of thoughts around sort of the problems with Twitter, the things that aren't working well, or sort of the barriers to what's possible. How do you see your buying the company? Does that sort of feed your desire to buy the companies, or how do you see these things sort of come together? And what's your thought process around that?
Well, there's definitely an ongoing challenge with Twitter with with bot accounts and spam accounts. There's still quite a lot of crypto scams on Twitter. It's gotten better, but there's still a fair bit of that. There are also people where they're not necessarily bots, but they might be operating. One person's operating hundreds of accounts and trying to make them look like individuals, but they're not. So, I think a lot of this I'm kind of reiterating stuff that I said publicly, but in fact on Twitter. In order for people to have trust in Twitter, I think it's extremely important that there be transparency. So that's why I'm an advocate of, say, having the algorithm be open source so that people can critique it, improve it, identify bugs potentially or bias. But when it's transparency obviously increases trust. So I think it's just very important, anything that's happening on an automated basis be open source and be clear, and that if there is any action taken by someone within Twitter to boost or deboost or something with a tweet, that it's just very clearly identified on the tweet, so people aren't ascribing to malice that which is not the way where there's no malice. But when it's inscrutable, then people don't know what to think, and they will sometimes think the worst when that's actually not true. So I think that trust is extremely important, and then just for the usefulness of the system, getting rid of sort of troll farms and bots and spam is incredibly important. I have a thought in this regard, which I think might work, which is to there's currently this Twitter Blue, but if you get Twitter Blue, it doesn't your identification in the system does not change at all. Like, you still look like a normal user ID. But I think if there was like a little Twitter Blue authenticated, not like authenticated like a celebrity, but authenticated at least by Twitter Blue payments, just using piggybacking on the payment system to do authentication. That I think a lot of people will be like, okay,
it feels like I'm at a party and someone is a few drinks in telling me how they'll fix Twitter. That was funny.
That's pretty helpful to have some designation that is next to my name that indicates I'm probably not a bot or spam or one person who's operating 100 accounts.
Elon, what is every single thought you've ever had about Twitter?
That's like $3 a month, I believe. I think that would be pretty helpful. And then and then also prioritizing comments and mentions and whatnot by who is verified in this broader sense, the word of verification, in the sense of the Twitter Blue verified, and just prioritize that above someone who's not verified. So that there will still be full read access to the system, still be full write access to the system, but you essentially any tweets or actions will be prioritized according to who's verified, and then a very large number of people can be verified.
I'm going to have a couple of follow-up questions on this specifically, but given you mentioned trust, I wanted to ask one of the employee questions around trust. They said Twitter has a lot of incredible, smart, talented people. What can we do to earn your trust, and what are you going to do to earn ours?
That's not how this works.
Yeah, the first part of that was brilliant, awesome, wonderful. Yeah. You get a raise.
The second part was like, maybe not fire you?
I think this, I'm maybe get a little too philosophical for this chat or something, but I think this has some kind of relation to like a rejection of all hierarchies or something, where it's like they see themselves as just as big of a player in all of this, and they really feel it too whenever they are an ant in the hill.
Yeah, like Elon needs to justify himself to them.
And it's such a pervasive thing. It's unfortunate. And I almost wish that the employee would go to work with the attitude of, what can I do for you? And then the boss also goes to work with the attitude of, what can I do for you? And it's not the employee's job to call the boss on it and say, hey, what are you going to do for us? No, wait and see. And if you don't like it, go elsewhere. I don't like this.
Go ahead. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nope. I cut you off. So go for it. Elon's smarter than I am.
I don't know. Trust is as trust does.
Ooh.
I don't know. Trust is as trust does. I tend to be extremely literal in what I say. Aspiration.
Shout out to the literal people out there, by the way.
One does not need to read between the lines. One can simply read the lines. So the things that I've said about Twitter, I think need to happen in order for it to be, to really go to the next level. I mean, I think the potential is there for Twitter to have be accessible to an order of magnitude more people, and for a lot more people to find it useful. Not currently. I guess it would be 4% of the world or something like that. I don't know. It's 4 or 5% of the world optimistically is finding Twitter useful, and maybe 50% of the world could find Twitter useful. So I want to take whatever actions would lead to that. And
he just said, "I'll fire you." He did. They're like, "What can we do to earn your trust?" He said, "I will fire you if I have to accomplish the mission."
Yeah,
that is what he said.
Amen.
Trust in that.
Bravo, Christian.
I'm very much like I wouldn't say essentially a trust thing. It's like if somebody's getting useful things done, then that's great. But if they're not getting useful things done, then I'm like, okay, why are they at the company?
Yes.
So it's really just we need to improve the core technology, improve the design, and so
trust emerges from that.
Yeah, I mean,
so trust in that. All right, here we go. Trust is as trust does. Someone says. I'm caught up in the chat now. Chris says, was that from Forrest Gump? Oh man. Layoffs, remote work, compensation. Trust is as trust does. Trolling, immaturity, attacks on important individuals. So Twitter, but make it classist.
Oh my God.
It's answered already. Transparency brings trust. All right.
Trust. Yes, it's not like I say. Trust is not exactly the. It's like if somebody's getting stuff done, great, I love them, and if they're not, I don't like them. Then I do not love them. It's pretty straightforward.
I would love to stay on this topic of employees and how we work. So distributed work is something that has been core to our strategy. Most of our people work in a hybrid model. About 1,500 people work remote full time. We know that you recently sent a communication to Tesla executives about remote work. Can you share what your point of view is on remote work and specifically for Twitter?
Yeah. So now Tesla makes cars, and you cannot make cars remotely. Obviously, you have to make cars in a big factory, and the supply chain, and you have to bring in the parts and assemble them, and then transport the car to the owner. All of these things must be done in person because it's physically impossible to do them remotely. Now there are some roles at Tesla where the work can be done remotely, like say software or design, it's so that I think that's still a case where you want to aspire to do things in person. But if somebody is exceptional at their job, then it's possible for them to be effective even working remotely. So with Tesla, I simply have asked for a list, that the manager has to confirm that their they're an excellent contributor, and if they do, they're allowed to work remotely. So
that's a pretty good standard if you're an excellent contributor.
Pretty basic.
It's an incentive.
There is a hit one takes remotely because it does reduce esprit de corps, and it's like it's hard to like if you just it kind of matters to be in person, at least some of the time. So like one of the things I said, even if somebody's working remotely, they got to show up at the office occasionally so that they recognize their colleagues and don't have you don't walk down the street and pass your colleague and they're you don't even recognize them. That would not.
Esprit de corps, a common spirit of comradeship, enthusiasm, and devotion to a cause among the members of a group.
Pretty good.
Yeah. No, I think this is super clarifying and resonates with us and it entirely in terms of how we work. So thank you for clarifying that topic. It's really important to us. I'd like to keep on the topic of employees. And
you all need to understand his social communication skills are not what everyone might expect due to Asperger's syndrome. He tends to over-focus on one topic or repeat things. We support neurodiversity. Did that sound like an underhanded insult to you? Never realized how making cars works. Somebody said. Oh man. All right. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna keep playing while I try and find good comments.
Through. This one's on compensation and benefits. Most people, especially obviously here, are used to working for a public company. Can you talk a little bit about how you compensate?
Adam says, "Am I excellent?" We're all excellent contributors at Twitter, says this person.
Oh, that sounds like someone who's not an excellent contributor.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Fired. You're fired. Wasn't there some guy that used to say that a lot?
Elon Musk is currently working from home. Somebody says, because he's excellent? Oh, man. Excellent contributors get to stay home. Can you have him define exceptional? Will you force people to go back to the office?
Isn't that a fun manipulative use of the word force? Wow.
That's a good point.
Will you force me not to shoot that person? Or why would you really force me? Well, yeah.
He's not clarifying. My team is fully distributed. I wouldn't see most of my teammates at the office anyway. That was not clarifying. Does it resonate with us? We all contributed excellently. That's why the algorithm exists. As a queer person, whatever she's about to write after that is going to be good. I don't feel safe or comfortable with having a potential CEO who's outwardly homophobic and transphobic. How is this something that is aligned with Twitter's overall values, and is Twitter planning on doing anything to protect this community, both as employees and users? This community deserves an answer.
Bye-bye.
The most annoying thing about that style of communication is that they are collectivizing a bunch of individuals and then having the hubris to speak for them. This community deserves an answer. Bitch, you're one person. Talk like it.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't Tesla have like 1 billion like LGBTQ safe space awards or something like that too? Like, is that not good enough? No, you just don't like him. Okay.
I am confused about what clarifying means now. Oh man.
I think it was pretty clear. It was pretty clear. Hybrid is the preferred alternative so that you can know the people you work with. And if you're an exceptional worker with the circumstances required, then you can work from home. That seemed pretty fucking clear to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was not clear enough for these people, though. He brushed it off nicely. We're still confused. How does that clarify anything? Is there a recording so we can try to decipher what was clarified?
Sucks.
Yeah, right?
It's no wonder this company sucks. These people can't even fucking understand a sentence in English, apparently.
Yep. All right. Continue.
Folks at SpaceX as a private company. How does it work?
I'm sorry, somebody just copy-pasted the definition of clarify for those that needed it.
What approach you plan to take at Twitter as a private company?
Yeah, so SpaceX, I think, operates in the best of both worlds where stock and options are issued to everyone, but we don't have all the challenges of being a publicly traded company where the stock can be up and down from one day to the next and be quite a distraction, and where one is at the mercy of short sellers and class action lawsuits and just generally, it's like being in the stockade, public stockade, and they just throw tomatoes at you all day. But SpaceX still allows liquidity, and so every 6 months there's a liquidity event at SpaceX, and people have the opportunity to sell their shares, and that's worked very well for the whole life of the company. So I think something like that would make sense at Twitter. So it'd still be stock and options and everything, and it'd just be liquidity events twice a year.
Great, and thanks. We are getting some real-time feedback on the remote work question, so I just want to make sure I follow up.
Yeah, we are. This isn't clear. What is exceptional? He's making us come to the office?
Your approach to remote work and distributed work at Twitter.
How rare is this that we're able to like get an inside look into both the video and the chat going on? This is amazing. This is why I wanted to do this stream. It's just fun.
It is.
Well, even imagine this, like this. I don't think this conversation would even happen like this in a pre-COVID society. Like it would be like, oh man, the boss, wants a hybrid model. That's sweet. Like that sounds really cool. And now they're like, oh, we're all coaxed into living inside of our boxes for a year and a half, 2 years. So now that's the norm, and we should just expect that for forever.
I remember when I had my first opportunity at a job to work remotely, I felt so freaking lucky. Oh my God. It was just the best thing ever. And now it's like an expectation, which I think is useful for a lot of jobs, but not for everybody. Like you have to be an extra responsible, extra self-motivated type of person to be able to handle that and still be productive. And that ain't everybody.
The ultimate goal has to be remembered that what is the product or service that you're delivering, and how do you go about doing that? And if you can, just as well. And in our business, for example, we have some employees who work remotely. We don't care where they are. They're answering the phone. They have to have good internet, good phone. And it really does not matter to us where they are. So by all means, move around the country, have a great life. It doesn't matter. But other team members need to be there in person. And so it's a need-based thing. It's not a right-based thing. It's what does the company need to continue doing an awesome job? And then, yeah, whatever we can do to make your life awesome, great. But that's not number one.
So many people...
They don't see productivity. Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, they just don't see productivity as being like the aim of what their time at Twitter should be. Like, they should be able to answer the question for themselves. Like, do they need to be in the workplace to be productive? Is there like an imperative or an advantage to them to increase productivity? Then you probably should be in the workplace. If you don't, like, for example, I work remotely. I don't need to be anywhere. I'm a keyboard monkey, So I just type on the keyboard all day. It doesn't matter where I am. I could be in a Starbucks, wherever. I could be just as productive. But that is not everybody. And not like you were saying earlier, not everybody's as motivated to like actually do the work. I know people have been fired from their jobs before because they got a remote work position over like COVID, and then they just like didn't work. And then their boss was like, "What have you been doing for the last 2 weeks? You're done." You know?
Yeah, it catches up to you. Like it's harder to notice in real time when an employee is effing off when they're remote working, but it does catch up. You notice over time, like, wow, what has this person been doing? And then you check into it and it's like, oh, nothing or very little. You don't get away with that forever. It's like people are forgetting that it's like a huge boon. It's a benefit to be able to work at the home, to not have to drive. God, I remember commuting an hour each way before and after work every day. Don't have to do that anymore. Don't have to pay wear and tear on my car. Don't have to pay gas. Don't have to risk the wrecks where people hit you and you get into accidents because you're in rush hour traffic, and the chance that it's going to happen is almost, over time reaches a sure thing. Like you're going to get into a wreck sometime. But if you're working from home every day, the chance of you getting into a wreck goes way down. Like there's so many benefits. If it were me as a coder, I would be extra motivated to be productive so I could keep that ability to not have to do all those stupid things to go to the office and sit in a cube all day. God, I hated cubes so bad.
And I think it would be smart as a coder for you to say, what do you expect me to produce? And just like a small business person, if they expect you to produce 80 units of things and they expect 10 units per hour, and you are able to do those 80 units in 4 hours because you're awesome, great. You work half as much as they think you are. Great. You're producing the 80 that they want. Everybody's happy. And I don't blame an employee for thinking that way. But it should be what's produced, not the number of hours that you've hung out, unless hanging out is the job.
All those little benefits that I talked about are worth money too. Like not getting into a car accident. You're saving your deductible. You're saving higher insurance rates. You're saving the 2 hours of your day commuting that you could be spending with your family or relaxing and resting and chilling out rather than driving in rush hour. Like all these little things, these are worth actual money. And so being able to work from home is a real benefit. And I can see that's why they're worried about it, but it's not an entitlement either. That's my point. All right, back to the chat. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I was at Twitter right now and I was at this meeting or whatever, and I wanted to keep my distance work status, my first thing I would do after this is set up a meeting with my manager, I guess, and be like, hey, so am I meeting the standards of an exceptional employee? And if not, what are the things you'd like to see for me to get there? Because I'd like to keep this. I like this, But I don't think very many people will do that.
Yeah.
Wait,
Opie in chat says no speeding tickets on the way to work. Yeah, see, that's another expense you're saving. What were you saying, Shepard?
Yeah.
No, I mean, what Christian was saying, open, direct communication. Like, hey, that works. We're all adults here, hopefully, trying to accomplish something. That's the way to go.
Yep. All right, back to chat. Okay, that means no remote work by default. Okay, so work from home is getting canceled. So basically, no. Aren't we all exceptional? Says another person.
Then no one's exceptional.
No.
Have they all been told they're exceptional? Is this really a thing? Like when I hear people talk about the younger generations, like the Zoomers and all the stuff that they've actually all been told they're exceptional, I always thought that was a meme. Is that actually what these humans believe? Christian, speak for your generation.
Well, they get told it too. I mean, everywhere you go, whether you're in school or you're at your, like, what's the generic company like line, and like, these like megacorps or whatever. It's like, we value each and every one of our employees. They're all worth as just as, but that's not true because they don't all get paid the same amount, for one. But people get fed it because it makes them feel good, and then they come to expect it. So when they says exceptional, well, we're all exceptional. Nobody's exceptional at that point, but they don't see it that way.
Yep.
Bob says, Patrick, they're millennials. Most of them have been lied to their entire lives. Yeah. Participation awards.
It's just another way of saying exactly. Everybody gets a trophy. Like, aren't we all exceptional? Everybody gets a trophy for being exceptional.
Julia says, exceptional according to whom? According to Elon.
Your boss.
So we have to earn it? ? Says Anna. Oh,
Wait.
no. They're figuring
Earn
it
in
out.
all caps?
Yeah, earn in all caps.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Imagine having to earn something. Oh, no.
All
That
tweeps
sounds
are
like
exceptional, says Andrea. Yikes. Define exceptional. Oh man. This is the salt I was looking for. We have struck salt. Luckily we're all exceptional, says Sarah.
Yep. Good.
Then you have
Good.
no problem.
Everybody-
Nothing to worry about.
Woohoo!
Every person who says that is not the exceptional employee. I guarantee
Yes.
it. Because all the exceptional people are sitting back going, oh, sweet. I get to keep my work from home. You know?
Imagine the gender bias the exceptional policy on working from home will produce, says Anna.
Good.
And the ageism. Oh my gosh, I can just.
Good. I'm here for it. Ageism, sexism, racism, all of it. Just do it all.
Gowrie says, what does exceptional mean? How do you measure this? Oh, man. Average remote workers, you're all fired.
Phobe says exceptionally unemployed.
Hi, Elon, says Zoe. We're all exceptional. Thank you.
Gosh.
Man.
Everyone is exceptional, so maybe we do get work from home. Man, they literally say that they're all exceptional. A lot of people are saying this.
I'm just waiting. Tomorrow, the headline is going to be 4,000 employees laid off from Twitter. You know?
4,000 exceptional employees.
Utah Data Center is excited to announce they have a new group of people.
Oh, I see someone's never taken a philosophy class. I work remotely, hence I am exceptional.
Oh, logic. Hashtag logic.
Yeah. Hashtag logic.
Get it? Hashtag Twitter. All right, man. All of this chat I've been reading is from literally 60 seconds. We've gone from 9 minutes 30 seconds to 9 minutes 31 seconds. This has all been from 2 seconds, I think. No, that's minutes. No. Okay, so 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay. I know how numbers work.
So
I'm exceptional.
And you know what's funny? Here's an interesting thing about those people. And my friend Sean said this one time. He said, are all smart people more prone to being exceptionally stupid? Isn't that brilliant? That's a brilliant comment. Thank you, Sean.
Josh Smith says, esprit de corps intensifying. Such a bad answer. Ooh, they're mad. Okay. Chat is now ahead of the video. Going back.
Is that what I'm hearing from you? Is that you are supportive of remote and distributed work as it is productive and meaningful, and people show
Is that
up
what you
when
heard?
it's important and depending on their jobs? Is that?
I don't think that's what he said.
Reflection?
Yeah, I mean, the bias definitely needs to be strongly towards working in person. But if somebody is exceptional, then remote work can be okay. But then if their work output is exceptional, then remote work is fine. There is some communication, impact that one takes when working remotely, because if you're with people, and they're just, a few desks away, it's very easy to communicate in real time. But it's much harder to do that if you're in different physical locations. So I do want to emphasize that the bias is very much towards in-person work. It's just that it would obviously be insane if someone is excellent at what they do, but can only work remotely, to then fire them, even though they're doing excellent work, would be insane. So I'm definitely not in favor of things that are mad. I'm in favor of things that build the business and make it better.
Thank you. Question about layoffs.
Pretty clear to me.
we received several questions from employees on this point. Obviously, they've read about the recent layoffs at Tesla. Can you speak to how you're thinking about layoffs at Twitter?
Well, I think it depends on, the company does need to get healthy. So right now the costs exceed the revenue. So that's not a great situation to be in. And so there would have to be some rationalization of headcount and expenses to have revenue be greater than cost. Otherwise, Twitter is simply not viable, or can't grow. So I think it would just be dependent on But like I said, anyone who's obviously like a significant contributor should have nothing to worry about. Like I'm not I do not take actions which are destructive to the health of the company. Yeah.
Elon, question connected to that. As you're obviously learning and gaining information as we get closer to the
people are going to get fired. That's what that meant.
I'd be deleting my Slack comments if I was one of these people. I would, because that's exactly what he said.
Yep. One of the people in chat says Economics 101. So yes, there will be layoffs, says someone else. Someone says yuck. Exceptional is very subjective.
And what could they do if at this very moment, in time, if they said, holy cow, they, of course, being the collective, the group, if they said, we are all exceptional, we don't want to get fired, they could become exceptional by the time Elon gets around to canning them. Like, in a week or two, they could kick butt and produce so much that he would say, you know what? As a matter of fact, we're growing so fast, we've got to hire another 1,000 people. They could do that if they choose to, or they could also complain.
Javier says, this is going great, folks. Don't worry if you're already exceptional. He's just going to do He's just going to do things that help the company and preserve the smart people. I don't know why anybody else has thought of this. Oh, wow. Don't worry, guys. He won't take actions that aren't healthy. Simple. To sum up, if you're an exceptional and significant contributor, you should be safe. Yeah, that was actually a pretty accurate summary. And work from the office if you're not, says somebody else. Yeah.
For the time being.
They're catching on. The scared Oprah face. It's good. Wait, so are we going to get fired? Lol, lol, lol. What about culture preservation? Exceptional answers. Question. Can we go back to the trust question? Because it doesn't really feel clear. How will LGBTQ, POC, and APAC tweeps feel safe under this lead? As of now, we do not.
What the fuck is an APAC? I don't know that one.
Urban Dictionary.
Nobody else knows it.
Yeah.
That's good.
A person of color.
To me, no, that's POC, person of color. APAC.
But wouldn't that be the A?
Look it up real quick. Google it. APAC.
APAC.
Yeah, DuckDuckGo that.
Nope. I'm going to brave search it because DuckDuckGo are commie simps now.
Yeah, they are lost. Yep.
Real time, folks.
I will continue salt mining while you do it. I'm adding I am exceptional to my morning mantras.
There's no way this is it.
If you can't tell the difference between reality and satire, it's probably true.
Well, can I say bad words? Like,
yeah.
Okay. Well, apparently it stands for all politicians are cunts.
That can't be it.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that doesn't sound right. So, sounds made up. I like and fake.
It. But yeah, I don't think that's what they meant to say.
Yeah.
They're realizing that the stream is being leaked. Okay.
This deal being closed. What do you feel that you have sort of a deep understanding and grasp of, and what are the areas that you feel you want to dive much more deeper on to understand and learn?
Well, I have a great understanding of the product, because I use Twitter every day practically, and I think I've got a really good understanding of how Twitter works from a product standpoint. What I have less of an understanding of is like this sort of bot spam or multi-user account. Basically anything that affects the monetizable daily user number that's probably my biggest concern, because that's really...
They're going to get I Am Exceptional swag to all wear now.
What drives advertising revenue as well as subscription revenue. And really Twitter's revenue is going to be subscription, advertising. I think payments would be an interesting thing to do as well.
I'm sorry, but millennials walking around in I Am Exceptional t-shirts is literally their own meme.
Yes.
But all of those things are only relevant as a function of how many unique humans are on the system. So that's my biggest concern, and that's what I've said publicly as well. Like I said, I try to be as literal as possible. Yeah.
And as we think about
Hunger Games style battle where only the strongest, most exceptional employees survive. May the odds be ever in your favor.
the product and the service and serving customers all around the world. Clearly, it's critical and existential for us to serve diverse communities and all people, as you said earlier. So inclusion and diversity is obviously core and central to our work at Twitter, both our employees and the customers.
Here it comes.
You've been vocal on a variety of different topics and issues that relate to inclusion and diversity. Can you talk about both your views and also your commitment to creating a diverse and inclusive workplace and also a service where everyone can feel included and safe?
Yeah, I mean, well, to be clear, if everyone talks about I said about Twitter as a whole, like there's 8 billion people in the world. There's sort of, I'm told there's 200 million, daily users of Twitter. That's a 7.8 billion person gap. So I think we really want to have, at least 1 billion people on Twitter, maybe more. As many people as we can possibly get on Twitter. So that I think is the most inclusive definition of inclusiveness. It's like all humans. So, that's important. From a company standpoint, I believe in a sort of strict meritocracy. So whatever, whoever's doing great work, great. They get more responsibility and authority, and that's that. So whatever, whoever's doing great work, great. They get more responsibility and authority, and that's that.
I know you mentioned in some of our conversations about your I&D team at Tesla. We have an amazing I&D team here at Twitter as well. So continue on the journey together.
There's an acronym for it. It's so popular in Silicon Valley now that IND is the acronym for the Inclusivity and Diversity Team at a company.
I didn't even know what that was. Wow. Okay.
I didn't either.
I love how Elon skirted around it. It was great how he skirted around it, though. That was and gave an actual definition. That was pretty cool.
A useful definition, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I might have figured out what APAC is. I think it stands for Asian Pacific. So I think this is, probably like China virus stuff or something.
To talk about content moderation, go back to a number of the things that you said earlier. So this is one I'll take verbatim. So you've spoken a lot about the importance of free speech. Let's start with the U.S., where we have a strong tradition around this. And you touched on this earlier. A lot of what's called lawful but awful speech is allowed here in the United States, right? Animal abuse, footage, doxing, videos of sexual violence, etc. So allowing this type of content obviously could cause harm and make Twitter unusable for the broad audience that you're trying to reach. What is your approach to this type of content that's sort of legal but problematic as it relates to people actually using the service? How do you think about this tension?
As I said earlier, really, it's like I think we should allow people to say what they want, post what they want within the bounds of the law. But that's different from them being able to reach people who don't want to be reached with that content. So if that content is
that's not shadow banning. That's just allowing people to set their own filters, which is great. And that's what we're trying to do at Float.
Offensive, then to people, those people will simply stop using Twitter. So it's important to make Twitter as attractive as possible, and really that means not showing people content that they would find hateful or offensive or even frankly content they would find boring is not good. So we don't even want them to see boring content. Unless we were talking about TikTok last night. And TikTok obviously does like a great job of making sure you are not bored. I mean, it does like feel like ADD, but like next level. But TikTok does a great job of making you not bored. I mean, I do find some of the videos offensive, I think, but they're not boring. So the folks we like, how do we ensure people have content that they find entertaining and engaging and interesting, such that they want to keep using Twitter and use it more? So
Phobe says the chuckle when referencing TikTok. Yeah, the chuckle
Yes,
of I have witnessed insanity. Now people in their chat are saying this is gross. We're TikTok now, guys. Then he says, so you need to buy TikTok. He should buy TikTok instead. Elon's strategy to increase our revenue: 600% funnier memes. That would
it would work. It would work. Yeah.
Yep.
That's that's essential to the growth of the service.
And one of our employees asked about sort of.
They have a department that they call health and safety. And this person says, apparently we're wasting our time in health. We should be focused on being not boring and entertaining. Yes.
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 People who use Twitter.
Of the service.
And one of our employees asked about sort of people who.
Is it just me, or did he just all tweeps matter us?
Who use Twitter having the right and the ability to filter out content that they don't want to see. I think this gets to exactly what you're pointing to.
I mean, to be clear, it's like the standard is much more than not offending people. The standard should be that they're very entertained and informed. You could not offend someone, but you could also bore them and show them a bunch of content that they don't find interesting, and then they will not use the service, or they will use it less. That's why I use the example of TikTok, where they just hone the algorithm to be as engaging as possible. And I think we want to also hone it to be as engaging as possible in a different way. I think, where that's like TikTok is interesting, but like you want to be informed about like serious issues as well. I think Twitter, in terms of like serious issues, can be a lot better in informing people about serious issues. Yeah. I do think it's important that there be, if there are two sides to an issue, it's important to represent, if there are multiple opinions, but, and just make sure that we're not sort of driving a narrative, but that we give people an opportunity to understand the various sides of issues. Most issues in the world are complex. They don't boil down to a simple, this is 100% good and this is 100% bad. So I think it would be, it would have a more informed public if people were presented with multiple sides to an issue.
One point I just want to go back to on sort of the law and sort of how that impacts content and moderation. As we think globally around the world, there are some countries, right, that have laws that limit speech, and sometimes actually use these laws to silence disagreement with the government, et cetera. You were talking about different points of view. So Twitter is historically.
So during the coup, he would have allowed Trump to continue for civil unrest.
We focus on doing what we can do to enable people everywhere to have their voices. How do you think about that as it relates to, again, like the local laws and what that means?
Well, I'm in favor of doing.
That's so relative. Boring content doesn't mean anything. That's someone who fundamentally doesn't understand their platform.
Yep.
I can tell you why boring content means something and is a problem. And he's not saying like boring content from a universal standard. He's saying to the user, they should see as little boring content as possible because that lowers their engagement with the platform. This isn't fucking rocket science.
Yep, there's a lot of good stuff on here. Eddie says, what if people are entertained by tweets and media that harm others? How do you feel about Twitter's efforts in combating misinformation? Do you want to continue those efforts or scrap them because it's free speech?
Of going as far as the law will allow us. If the law, if say Twitter employees would get arrested in the country if we didn't adhere to the law, then we obviously must adhere to the law or exit the country or something. The law, then we obviously must adhere to the law or exit the country or something.
I like how he mentally entertains another option other than obey the law. Like, that's a little glimmer of hope for me.
But I mean, as much as we can enable people to have a voice and to speak their mind, I think we want to do that. Yeah.
And I know we talked about this as well last night about the teams doing this work and sort of your desire to connect with those teams and sort of understand sort of where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. And I think that would be hugely productive across the board.
Somebody says, have we added a boring metric yet? Imagine like having a secret boring rating for your Twitter account that determines how frequently you get seen.
They do that. The boring rating, it's engagement. It's the inverse of engagement. That's the boring rating.
It is,
if you get no engagement, your content is boring. Like mine.
Right. Both ways. Can we talk briefly about your political views? How, if at all, do your political views play into the leadership of the companies that you currently run? How would it affect Twitter?
He just voted for a Republican for the first time. That's the context.
Well, my political views, I think, are moderate, at least as would be, as if you said, like, what is the center of the normal distribution of political views in the country? I think I'd be pretty close to the center. I've voted Democrat every election until this recent one this week, and then I voted for Mayor Flores, who is a Republican, but she was Mexican American, and I thought a good candidate, and worth voting for. So, but I'm in favor of moderate politics, but allowing people who have relatively extreme views to express those views within the bounds of the law. So that's as I said publicly, I think if let's say the far left 10% and far right 10% were equally upset on Twitter, then that would probably be a good outcome.
I want to.
That's funny.
Well, one of those two is going to be upset right now. I guarantee that.
It's just it was a really funny way of phrasing it.
Yeah.
Business for a minute. You've spoken about incentives that the ad business creates for services like Twitter. What role does advertising play in the future of your business plan for the company?
Sexism and racism are 100% bad, actually. It's pretty simple. Protecting human rights is 100% good.
I think advertising is very important for Twitter. So in the case of, say, Tesla or SpaceX, there's no need for advertising because the demand exceeds our production. So, advertising is fundamentally a demand generator. And occasionally you want to get some other message out there, but it's fundamentally a demand generator.
This, in all caps, is the worst thing I've heard. Somebody else says, actively suggesting that not being bored and getting engagement is more important than not being harmed is pretty dark. This is revealing and not in a great way.
So, given that Tesla demand is far in excess of production, there's no need for Tesla to advertise. I'm not against advertising. I would probably, want to talk to the advertisers and say like, hey, let's make sure the ads are as entertaining as possible. That I think they're more effective if they're entertaining. You don't want to be strident or spammy in the ad. And then of course, I don't think it's good to allow advertising of any products which are bad products. I was literally scammed on it. I bought this thing off of a YouTube ad and it didn't work. And then I Googled it and it's like, oh yeah, once you click on the second page of Google search results, it's like, yeah, this product totally doesn't work and it's trash. And I'm like, well, what the hell is YouTube allowing advertising of scamming products? That's totally not cool.
So, I now need to worry about becoming unemployed, depending on whether I'm considered exceptional. That's my takeaway from this.
And I think if the advertising is entertaining, interesting, it's something you might actually want, and the product would be, fulfilling to the Twitter user, then I think that's great advertising. Yeah.
So, Elon, we're going to go over. Is that okay?
Yes.
Awesome.
January 6th was terrifying because social media was potentially a critical catalyst. What are your thoughts on how we react to memes of mass destruction?
Memes of mass destruction. Wow. You know what I think we have to do? I think we have to invade Iraq. That's what I think we have to do.
I've never heard that term. I hope to never hear it again. Oh my goodness.
Memes of mass destruction.
No, I'm going to start a Twitter account right now called Memes of Mass Destruction, and that's all it's going to be. Oh, man.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about Twitter and payments? You mentioned this a few times in different settings. We'd love to understand your thinking there.
Yeah, I think money is essentially a form of information. So, it's information that allows us to exchange products and services without having to barter, and allows people to shift obligations in time. But money is fundamentally digital at this point, and it has been for a while. PayPal, I think is done a great job on the payments front. I think it would make sense to integrate payments into Twitter, so that's easy to send money back and forth.
That's WeChat.
And fiat currency as well as crypto. essentially whatever somebody would find useful. So, like I said, the goal, my goal would be to maximize the usefulness of the service. The more useful it is, the better. And if one can use it to make convenient payments, that's an increase in usefulness. It's sort of news, entertainment, and payments. I think are like three critical areas. But really, it's just about sort of thinking about how to make make using Twitter so compelling that you can't live without it, and that everyone wants to use it.
That's what a CEO should be
I want to
thinking.
expand the product. I know, you did touch upon this earlier, but it's a recurring question around the authentication piece. In terms of you're saying you want to authenticate all humans. So just to sort of double click into that, balancing this with those who benefit from anonymity, right, from safety perspective, especially for.
I found some salt. Here we go. He can vote for whoever he wishes, and that's no one on this chat's business. Someone at Twitter had the balls to post in this chat room. Did they get away with it? Nay, they did not. A thread ensued. It does when the person he votes for directly hurts me. He has the right to vote for whoever he wishes to vote. That's his right. Just like it's your right to vote for whoever you wish for. It's called democracy. When his biases impact people's lives, it matters. No one is saying he can't vote one way or another, but there's no separation of personal interest to what makes sense for the business. Your comment is privileged.
Oh, fucking crap. On that note, I'm going to go let my dog out. I'll be right back.
All right, we're going to continue unless you want us to wait.
Yep.
Jeez.
For example, human rights activists and marginalized communities. So it's sort of, can you just clarify again and speak to that?
Hold on, I'm going to back up. I missed something.
So just to sort of double click into that, balancing this with those who benefit from anonymity, right, from safety perspective, especially, for example, human rights activists and marginalized communities. So it's sort of, can you just clarify again and speak to that sort of that tension and how you think about those groups specifically? Anonymity is sort of core to how the service.
I don't think it's necessary for someone to use their real name. So if one, say, does a payments-based authentication, I think it should be okay to not use your real name on Twitter. So Twitter would know who you are, at least from a payment standpoint, but you would not have to state your real name or anything. That's obviously important. Where if someone has different political views from their manager, let's say, then they don't really want to get crosswise there, and so that it would be better for them to have a pseudonym on Twitter, but it can still be back-end authenticated. And like I said,
Queer people cannot trust this man. We've seen this kind of homophobia and transphobia before. There's nothing salvageable about what he says.
I mean, it's almost like somebody said, "Hey, will you please in this stream try to include every woke phrase possible?" Like it's almost like, "Ooh, we can fit this one in here." Mm-hmm. It seems to be what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm trying to practice synchronized tipping with you.
At no point would I suggest that you have to be authenticated in order to use Twitter. It's just that it would just be a prioritizing of authenticated comments and actions on Twitter over unauthenticated in order to combat the sort of bots and trolls. And essentially, it needs to be much more expensive to have a troll army. Whereas right now, it's basically very inexpensive to have 100,000 fake Twitter accounts.
And you have certainly been very vocal on Twitter. You are very vocal on Twitter, and often your tweets and even emojis create news cycles. You have been also critical of the company on Twitter. which obviously impacts lots of discussions, conversations, and perceptions from whether it be partners or even our employees. How do you think about these tweets? Do you look at the reaction or think about the reaction of these tweets? I'm just curious sort of the thinking behind the tweet, if you will.
Well, I think it would be helpful. One thing about words is that it's hard to convey tone. And so it's possible for, essentially people will sometimes like take the words and then assume they were said in maybe an angry way or, a vindictive way or something like that. But I mean, hopefully you can tell, like my normal tone is not, I'm not an angry person. I almost never raise my voice. So, like in a year, I might not have raised my voice literally. So this is not, so sometimes people may think, oh wow, he's sort of yelling and screaming or something, but I'm really not.
I am disgusted with this. Somebody else says, only exceptional people will be paid.
What kind of socialist community is this?
Hashtag troll army. Yeah, all right.
Maybe some way to indicate tone. I mean, emojis sort of do that. But I don't know, maybe there could be like where you have like irony flag or something. This is an ironic, there's an ironic tweet or something like that.
Listen, I think Spaces is a great product for you as well. We also have voice tweets, which I don't think I've seen you use before, but I think that would add sort of your literal voiceover and color to some of the things that you tweet. So maybe you can sort of.
Oh, sure. That's good. I should. Yeah, maybe I could just say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you could read it, but then you can also see how I would have said it. Like then if you're like, I wonder if you said that in an angry way, and then you can see how I actually said it.
Yes, absolutely. That'd be amazing. On your, I know we have. I'm gonna only push you about 10 more minutes up at the hour. So.
It's what I always need to do, is get somebody from Minnesota to host all the Q&As, just see there.
I'm going to only push you about 10 more minutes up at the hour, so I'm holding you until then. Your role at the company, there's been some discussion about will you be CEO, will you not be CEO? What can you speak to this, and how do you anticipate your role?
Doesn't matter what you call him.
Sort of influencing strategy, day-to-day, the vision.
Well, I guess I'm not that hung up on titles, but I do want to drive the product in a particular direction. So, it could be like, I don't really care what, about being CEO. In fact, I renamed myself Techno King at Tesla. With an official SEC filing.
Yes, we saw.
Yeah. And then our CFO was renamed Master of Coin, which I think is a cooler thing than CFO. What I really just want to do is like drive the product, improve the product, and it's like basically software and product design, So, I don't mind doing other things, related to operating a company, but there are kind of chores. There's a lot of chores if you're the CEO. I really just want to make sure that the product evolves rapidly and in a good way. I don't really care what title is, but I do. Obviously, people do need to listen to me if I say like, "Hey, we need to improve the product in the following way, make the following changes, add these features." Then I do expect that people listen to me in this regard. And I mean that's how what I do at SpaceX and Tesla. So I'm really just working with really engineering and production, like it sometimes may seem like, wow, Elon's really out there a lot, but actually I'm not. If you see how many actual interviews do I do, it's quite a small number. But if I do a tweet, they'll like make an entire like 2-page article about it, So I'm like basically get far fewer. I'm like actually quite internally focused at SpaceX and Tesla, even though it may not seem that way. And it's really just evolving the rocket technology with SpaceX and providing global internet with Starlink, and then Tesla. It's about accelerating sustainable energy, and with electric cars and stationary battery packs and solar power, and the fundamental good of Tesla, I would say, is measured by how many years did we accelerate the advent of sustainable energy, and then the fundamental good of SpaceX is, are we able to make life multi-planetary?
They're making fun of his Techno King thing. They're like, I'm not hung up on titles. Tesla Techno King, Chief Executive Monarch, and a girl actually said, "Can I be Techno Queen?" He's got some Simpson here.
And thus improve the probable lifespan of consciousness. Like if I were to say, like, what is a unifying philosophy for me? It is we should take the set of actions.
This person says, "No master here, please." That's that anti-hierarchy thing you're talking about. It is part of their culture. Yeah, very
most
common.
likely to extend the scope, scale, and lifespan of consciousness as we know it. So that's like what set of actions improve things at a civilizational level and improve the probable lifespan of civilization. Like our civilization will come to an end at some point, but let's try to make it last as long as possible. And it would be great to understand more about the nature of the universe, why we're here, the meaning of life, where are things going, where do we come from, can we travel to other star systems and see if there are alien civilizations. There might be a whole bunch of
going off on aliens now, folks. Summon Alex Jones.
That existed, 500 million years ago. If you think about the span of...
Oh, hold on. Stop the presses for Phobes' comment. He says, imagine banning people from Twitter as a job and claiming to reject hierarchies. Fucking tankies.
Human civilization from the advent of the first writing, it's only about 4.5 billion years, which is nothing. Earth is roughly 4.5 billion years old. So all of civilization as measured from the advent of writing is a flash in the pan. And I think we want to take whatever actions we can to extend that flash in the pan to hopefully...
Somebody says tomorrow should be a rest day after having to listen to this, because they have those at Twitter. Rest days.
That does not sound like a very exceptional employee.
That's where they pay you to do nothing.
Gosh.
Be a flame that lasts a long time.
I can't believe I have to transition from aliens away from this conversation back to Twitter. What do you...
I'm not saying it's aliens, but yes.
What does Twitter look like to you?
I got to stop trolling people about the alien stuff. Because people really think... to be clear, I've seen no evidence. I've seen no actual evidence for aliens.
Okay.
I get asked that a lot, and I think I know, and I've not seen anything yet.
Okay, you've heard it here, everybody. Question about Twitter. When you look 5 to 10 years from now, what do you consider successful for yourself in acquiring the company and for all of us in the work that we do? What does success look like?
Yeah, so I think success would be a substantial increase in daily active users. I don't know, like I said, if can we get daily active users over 1 billion? That would be, it's still only 1/8 of Earth, but that would be a huge improvement from where things are today.
This escalated to alien civilizations quickly.
And and I guess broadly speaking, like,
can we get official title changes to include exceptional ahead of time? They're scared.
Helping further civilization and consciousness. Like, are we? It's just Twitter. I'm not seeing.
The edible is kicking in.
But like, is Twitter contributing to a stronger, longer-lasting civilization where we're better able to understand the nature of reality? I would say, like my philosophy is one of curiosity, of trying to understand the nature of the universe in as much as is possible to understand. So, in order to understand the nature of the universe, we must expand the scope and scale of consciousness and extend the life of consciousness. I guess, broadly speaking, would be, has Twitter meaningfully improved the strength and longevity of civilization?
And I know that we have gone meaningfully over. So first of all, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for coming back for a part 2. Thank you for continuing the conversation with all of us.
You're welcome. That's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. We'll talk very soon.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Elon. Okay, bye, everybody.
I want you to focus on the very last moment of her on video when she was clicking the end call button. You saw a brief moment of what she was actually feeling. Watch closely.
You're welcome. That's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. We'll talk very soon.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Elon. Okay, bye, everybody.
Did you see that? I'm glad that's over. It was really brief, but it was there. It was there. Brian, Twitter employee Brian, says, this is not a person who I would want to work for. Just to be frank, I'm skeptical I would stay with the company if I felt he actually gets influence over my role and team.
No, Brian's leaving. Brian's leaving.
Brian's leaving. He might leave.
No.
I hope if I were Elon, I would tweet a screenshot of that and be like, "Oh no, I'm not going to buy Twitter now. We can't lose Brian."
Hey, maybe Brian's the most productive person at Twitter. You know, maybe, just maybe. He's so productive he could dedicate all the time to this Q&A instead of being productive.
In regards to the alien thing, Danny says, this was not on my Elon bingo card. There's some funny people in this chat. It's been interesting. Yeah, this has been wild. What do you guys think?
My only regret is I didn't bring enough chemo. That's it. Because there's been lots and lots of cancer in the comments as well. I am happy that there are some people who can do a funny. You know, that's good. That's a good sign. If it was all just endless salt and hate and just like, I'm exceptional, which it mostly is, but if it was all that, I think my outlook on this would be very different.
I think
I'm frightened.
Go ahead.
I'm frightened for the direction of civilization. The fact that this many people are this messed up, it's one of the reasons I moved to the middle of nowhere, and like it kind of insulates me, but it's just it's a pause button. It's not a permanent fix, and I don't think I can permanently fix. But just looking at that, these people are all thinking these things and are so far detached from. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but what I view as reality, it's really scary for the future. And human critters are awesome, and we'll fix it. We'll make it good within 100 or 1,000 years. But it sucks that this disruption's coming.
I blame Derrida.
Tell me more.
Nah, it's a joke a buddy and mine have about like the rise of postmodernist philosophy and how you can watch the trend line of of just ridiculousness increase from like these core, what the critical theorists and stuff like that, like Horkheimer on. It's just been like a steady decline where we were pretty much at like what could be considered, at least for the era, a peak. I see all of this as just like byproducts of that, which makes me think maybe we're at the backswing of the pendulum, because now it's all finally coming into fruition. So
I'm worried about what the backswing will look like. I don't think we're quite at the backswing. I think that'll happen maybe over the next 5 years, but when it actually reverses direction, I think the resistance is starting to build right now. But I am worried about the backswing. Like, I've been seeing people on Twitter recently, like right-wingers that are getting more and more, they are getting radicalized by the far left pushing farther and farther, especially in the area of children. That's definitely making the right wing more extreme in response. That's like the immune response to messing with children, is to start getting more concerned with the culture and how healthy the culture is as a collectivized concept, which is the failing of the right? And the pushback, the immune response to the left once they've gone too far, is going to be equally as toxic.
Well said. Well said. And that's something that I think we have the unique perspective. And when I say we, I mean the three of us and the followers of your channel, people who are into philosophy, into human rights, human being good people. People who are into this kind of philosophy are kind of aware of this and realize that so close to, I have rights because I'm an alive lesbian, gay, straight, half zebra. That is so close to white people must run shit. Like, it's so close. It's the same perverse thinking. It is so similarly related, and it's scary.
I mean,
I think the immune response thing is is a pretty good perspective on it, because a lot of people see it that way. It's like, oh, I'm getting burned by this people. Who's the other team who isn't burning me? And they don't say like, okay, what are the problems that led to this situation? They're like, oh, who can I join that will burn them? And it's like, okay, we're just going to build up the whole problem all over again. Maybe eventually we'll get it. I say we as the human population in this case.
Mm-hmm.
The right thing to do is the hard thing to do, which is to look at both sides and tell them how they're both wrong, and to not be like what happened recently with several people, including people like Pete Quinones, was that Pete Quinones was pushed to the right by the left. He is experiencing the immune response that I'm literally talking about right now. He's had enough of the left destroying culture, pushing it so far that kids are now at risk of being, well, we don't need to go into that, I guess. You guys know what's happening with children. And so his response is to join Team Red, who's the only team strongly pushing back against it. When I think the correct answer is to be like, look, Pete, the left is messed up and wrong, and stop it. And also, joining the right team, the red team, is not the right answer either. They're wrong too. Both people can be wrong at the same time. I can be against both at the same time. I don't have to join red or blue to point out problems with either. I can point out problems with both. And that's what we need. That's what will grab the sort of pendulum and hopefully weight it towards well, I don't want to say the middle, because the middle between Republicans and Democrats isn't the right answer either, but
towards reality. If the ends of the pendulum are maximal delusion, then the center is reality.
Yeah. Alfredo says, what I got out of this is that Twitter is going to be hiring soon. Yes. And Phobes says Pete is retreating to the team that allowed it to happen in the first place. Dum dum. Yeah.
Project Veritas. Big thanks to them for what they do. And yeah, I know they are very biased and they do their stuff, but it's kind of cool to see whistleblowers on the left and right, and Project Veritas is certainly right, just as the Confessions of an Economic Hitman was, biased left. But they're both great, well-intentioned, misinformed, of course, the definition being somebody who doesn't agree with me completely. They're misinformed people who are trying their best in life, and they're pointing out some really cool stuff. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. I don't agree with everything, but yeah, that kind of sucks. So thank you to them for providing you with the idea and the content for this awesome, illuminating show.
Well, I had fun. That was the whole point. At no point did I think I was going to learn something, but that was fun.
I've done a pretty good job of staying out of like big corporations and stuff like that. Not really because I wanted to, but just because it just never worked out that I was like some part of, some Twitter or something like that. But I understand a little bit more clearly when people say like corporations are ruined. I thought I think a part of me was still thinking that they were talking about this like, the cubicle work life and the 9-to-5 grind and blah, blah, blah. But I think this part of it, like if this is as big of a part of what it is to be at a corporation as their Slack channel makes it seem, I totally get it now, because being a reasonable human being in this environment must be fucking terrible. Just like awful.
I can tell you from personal experience. Every company based out of one of the coasts has a very strong contingent of this in it. And it is already extremely unpopular to not be part of that group in those companies. And it to the point where you will lose your job if you speak out too much. So this is certainly a thing. And most companies are based out of one of the coasts, right? So it's certainly most Silicon Valley companies, at least. So, well, I kind of want to make I Am Exceptional t-shirts now for the swag store. or I am not exceptional. Just,
Well, as the honorable gentleman from the Rocky Mountain region, I would like to move that the Disenthrall channel is exceptional enough that it be allowed to stay on YouTube for at least another week based on your performance. So you are, sir, exceptional.
Well, thank you very much. So are you guys. And thanks for like hopping on last minute. I gave you guys like barely any warning that I was going to stream and just asked if you guys wanted to join. Here's the t-shirt. Hopefully my producer will hear this, or somebody that can design the shirt for me, and I'll put it up in the Disenthrall swag store. It'll say, I am exceptional, in quotes, ex-Twitter employee. Oh, man. Good stuff.
That is good.
All right, well, I'm going to go, I guess I'll end the stream. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to go hang out in Discord for the rest of the evening, probably play some video games. Don't forget tomorrow... well, first of all, if you don't have a Taxation is Theft shirt, what are you doing? Disenthrall.me/swag. Get your own. I make nothing. I make almost nothing. I make a couple bucks off this. It's not about me making money. It's about you guys having good shirts to wear as you're walking around the world. Oh, wait, Christian, you have a new Bang Pow. Can you please show it off?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Do you want to?
Let me put the dog down. Yeah.
You don't have to. But
the dog.
Wow.
The dog.
Okay.
Oh, geez. Sorry, my dog I loved him, and now he wants more love.
Wow.
All right, Kai.
It's a 3D. It's a 3D printed pew pew, right? Tell us about it.
Yes, it is. So, I got a dog on me. It's not loaded. Don't worry. So what we got here? Ignore the mess in the corner. Sorry about that. My closet's open. This is a 3D printed AR-10 lower from Hoffman Tactical.
Because you can do that now.
Yes. And it is perfectly legal for anybody who's curious and has never done this before. If you have your own printer, so you don't have to worry about the law coming at you for now. But it's a pretty traditional AR-10 setup, bipod. I put a little foregrip on here because I did want to have some control and mobility. I still need to get flip up irons for it for backup sights because this is a 4x16 optic on here, which should give the kind of target shooting ranges that I'm looking for. So, and it's chambered in 308 and big old mamma jammas.
3D printed 308 lower. Isn't that cool?
We've come a long way since the Liberator.
We have come a long way.
Long way.
Thanks, Cody, for getting that going.
Shepard, I have a confession to make on stream. You helped me build an amazing sniper rifle that has not had a round fired through it yet.
We have to fix that, Patrick.
It's all right. Come on up.
I need to be taught. I need to be trained. I want to learn distance shooting, and I want to fire this amazing rifle. I'll have to show it off sometime. It's a beautiful, beautiful rifle with a trigger. Oh man, the trigger like Buddha. Oh,
oh, very nice.
You've got a good setup.
All right.
This is all like
be tactical. Talk about running it. You're running a good trigger. Yeah. I gotta say running. That makes you tactical.
Yes, I'm running a pro trigger. All right. Don't forget, tomorrow we're probably gonna try our hand at a semi-marathon stream. I don't know. I'm not gonna hold us to that. Like because reading a book takes vocal cords, and vocal cords can only last a certain amount of time before they actually stop working. So, unlike the Passio stream, where most of what we're doing is listening with a little bit of talking, we're going to be literally reading Ethics of Liberty and pointing out the flaws in the natural law conception included in it. A lot of people have been asking for this ever since we did the Passio critique. Rothbard is the biggest dog that there is, so to speak, in libertarian spaces. So I'm excited. Well, I'll save all this for tomorrow. But the TLDR is I'm excited about it because you're going to see a quality difference in the attempts at creating a moral philosophy and justifying a moral philosophy of natural law between what we did before with Passio and what you're going to get in the Ethics of Liberty by Murray Rothbard. It still has foundational problems, but we'll get into that tomorrow. Anyway, so that's tomorrow. It's going to be a long stream. Wish us luck. Join us. Super chat if you want to support the show. Don't use YouTube Super Chat because they take half. There's a link on the disenthrall.me/support page where you can use, we have like a Streamlabs link and we get like 100% of that because I think it goes through PayPal or something. Use that. Then Sunday, hopefully, we have it confirmed. So unless something goes sideways or we get ghosted, on Sunday, we're going to be watching only on Odysee because it's definitely going to get copyright takedown if we watch What is a Woman anywhere but Odysee. But on Sunday, we're going to be watching What is a Woman with a trans woman. We're going to try and find some truth. We're going to try and apply some rational thinking to what I think is just insanity happening right now in the world. So it's going to be interesting. I always invite people I disagree with on for the shows because it's not fun if you just hear my opinions. So, and I actually don't know if I disagree with this person yet. We'll see. All right. Anyway, enough jibber jabbing. Last words, Christian. You want to shout out your channel?
Yeah, I'll post something on it one day, so might as well. I have a channel called Liberty After Dark. One day I'll make new content. I promise. Don't ask me when. It'll happen. So,
Shepard, do you want to shout your channel out?
Yes, Shepard Thinks.
These two have the most undersubscribed Liberty-related channels on the internet, so please go give them a subscribe and a follow. They're really good people that I trust and am honored to be friends with. All right, so with that said,
love you, bro.
No, you.
Oh, I love you guys.
No, you're the best.
You.
Oh, go to Discord. Let's hang out. I'm gonna end the stream. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Love
Take it
y'all.
easy.